I'm going to pray to the holiday armadillo that I actually read these books and not just put them on my TBR for show. Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking you through the books that are on my winter TBR. And I have kind of dressed for the occasion wearing my friend's t-shirt which features the Holiday Armadillo episode, which is one of the best Christmas episodes of that series. I absolutely love when the Holiday Armadillo bursts into the apartment. So enough about that. So there's 7 books on this TBR, and that might be a little bit ambitious for the exact reason that in December of every single year I go through a reading slump. And I don't know why I go through it. I don't know what causes it. Maybe it's because I know that there are so many books coming that I don't want to start something in case I get something that I really am going to enjoy. Maybe it's because the excitement of Christmas just is too much. Maybe it's because I want to spend more time with my family than I do with my nose stuck in a book. Whatever the reason is, every December, around the week leading up to Christmas and the week after Christmas, I cannot read. I don't know why. So knowing that, maybe setting 7 books for winter is a bit of a stretch. Because I'm Irish, I kind of follow the Celtic calendar when it comes to seasons. So for me, winter is November, December, January, which means I have got an extra month to try and get these ticked off. So there are 2 books on this TBR which are ebooks, and there are 5 books which are physical copies. Let's take a look at what the books are. So I'm going to start with the ebooks, and the first one is All About Us by Tom Ellen. And I have read another of Tom's books before. I read Freshers, which is kind of about your first experiences of being a college student and what your first couple of months in university is like. But this is a slightly more adult book, and it's aimed at a more adult audience, which is something that I read quite a lot of, so I am interested in getting to know this book a bit better. So this one is about Ben, and he's in a relationship with a woman named Daphne, and it's kind of on the rocks at the moment. They're not really doing as well as they usually are. Ben goes to bed one night and wakes up on the 5th of December 2005, which is the year and the day that he and Daphne met for the first time. So it's kind of like a time travel thing where you're going right back to the start of his relationship, and he's seeing if there isn't any way that he can mend their relationship, is there anything that he can do differently, so that they kind of fall back in love together for the first time, for the second time. My friend Lindsay James, who is an author, has read this book recently and absolutely adored it. And Lindsay and I have very similar tastes when it comes to books, so I kind of have the feeling that if she loved it a lot, I'm going to love it a lot too. So the second ebook on the list is One New York Christmas by Mandy Baggett. And Mandy writes fantastic Christmas fiction. And she writes books set pretty much across the world. Like, I have already written a book from a Christmas book of hers that was set in Paris, a Christmas book of hers that was set in London, and now we've got one that's set in New York, which conjures up such Christmassy and festive feelings for me, especially when you think about the tree in Rockefeller Center. I just know that that's going to feature really heavily in this book. So it's about Laura, who goes to New York around Christmas time and spends the holidays there. She and her friend Susie are kind of there on a trip, and they're kind of experiencing what the city is like at Christmas time. It's kind of a way for Laura to get over her ex-boyfriend, but she meets an actor there called Seth, and you can kind of imagine what's going to happen at the end of a romance book set around Christmas time. I love Christmas romances, I love Christmas books, I love anything that is festive, so I think this might be the one that's going to banish my Christmas week reading slump. Fingers crossed. And so now we're going to get to the physical books. And first one is The Bride Test by Helen Huang. I have already read The Kiss Quotient. I read it in April or May of this year, and I really, really enjoyed it. And this book follows one of the characters who featured in The Kiss Quotient. It follows Kai, who is Michael's cousin. And he has ADHD, and he falls in love with a woman who has come to America from Vietnam. And it's kind of about how their relationship will develop, and how Kai, who has ADHD and can't really connect with people very well and doesn't really show his emotions very well and doesn't deal with his feelings very well, how does he kind of come to terms with that as somebody who is starting out on a romantic relationship? The next one is a kind of a recent purchase, but I've seen so much love for it recently that I can't not read it at the moment. It's written by another one of my auto-buy authors, and It's a fiction book of his, which I haven't read a lot of before. I've only read one fiction book by him so far. And I didn't really enjoy that as much as his non-fiction, but I am willing to give his fiction books another go. It is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. The best way to describe this book is a quote that kind of features towards the start of the novel. It's about Nora, who's feeling kind of apathetic about her life, and she's looking for something that's going to kind of more excited, or she's going to check out. So she goes to this library, and every book that you open brings you to an alternate reality. So between life and death, there is a library, she said. And within that library, the shelves go on forever. Every book provides a chance to try another life you could have lived, to see how things would be if you had made other choices. Would you have done anything different if you had the chance to undo your regrets? As somebody who constantly asks themselves, what would life be like if I had studied this? Or what would life be like if I lived here? Or what would life be like if I had not met this person but had met this person? I'm so up for this book, and I know it's a Matt Haig book. I am very likely going to love it. Next book on the list is one that I bought as soon as it came out back in April, and have been meaning to read it since it came out in April, and I just haven't. It is Pretending by Holly Bourne. Holly is another one of my auto-buy authors, as you can tell by the fact that it came out and I bought it within 24 hours. So this is about a woman named April who goes by another persona online to kind of make herself seem more attractive and more exciting to the guys that she's going on dates with. She turns into this woman called Gretchen, this kind of manic pixie dream girl idea of the perfect woman. But she meets a guy called Jamie, and everything kind of starts to unravel as Gretchen when she's on dates with him. The next book on the list is one that I wasn't planning to put on, but I saw it, and the cover was the one that kind of made my decision. It was The Two Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. So I have already read Josie's debut book, which was One Day in December, and I have a feeling that as much as I loved this One Day in December, I'm going to probably love this one a bit more. So this one follows Lydia Bird, who loses her partner Freddie in a car accident. And one day, she is given the opportunity to see what life would be like if Freddie had survived. If Freddie was still around, what would life be like now? This is kind of similar in concept to The Midnight Library, so I think I'm going to read them in very quick succession to each other, because I kind of love that alternate reality, what if storyline. And that is an aspect of this book I'm very interested in finding out about. Final book on this TBR is a rollover. I had a rollover on my summer TBR, which was Where the Crawdads Sing, and I managed to read that one. So I have a rollover from my autumn TBR, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. So this is about two twins who disappear when they're like maybe 16 or 17. And one of them comes back to the kind of small town where they grew up, and the second one stays away and lives her life in California. But the twin who moves to California starts living her life as a white passing woman and does not associate with her small town life at all. But their daughters meet maybe 16 years later, and it kind of forces them to re-establish a relationship. They haven't been in touch since one of the twins left town. I love reading books about twins. That is a trope that I absolutely adore. And anybody that I've seen read this book has really, really enjoyed it. So that is definitely a spur on for me as well. There we go. All of these, plus the 2 ebooks, are on my winter TBR, and I will hopefully get to them by the time January 2021 ends. All of these books, which one do you think I should start with first? Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.